What's up, Facebook Live? It's yours truly, DJ R.O.B. with DJ R.O.B. taking you back. And it's a special edition, our first edition. I have DJ Frankie as my guest tonight.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the old school. We're going to talk about the history of nightlife in Las Vegas. And we go way back, like an 8-track and a Cadillac with the seats back. We met in '82. We're going to talk about all that. We got a lot of stuff to unpack, a lot of stories, a lot of history. We also are promoting something. As you know, we throw our reunion parties. We try to do them. We were doing them in 5 and 10 year increments, and then people said, we want them every year. We started doing them every year about 4 years ago. Of course, we skipped last year because there was some crazy thing going on called a pandemic or something. But we're back. The August 20th, Friday, August 20th. We are back with the Reunion 2021, celebrating the history of nightlife in Las Vegas with yours truly, DJ Rob, DJ Frankie, and it's at a new venue called Rockstar Bar. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard. None of that downtown, can't find a place to park. This is a great venue, indoor, outdoor, right across from the Town Square Mall. So ample free parking. We're going to give away some tickets on this little show tonight, so have your comments and questions ready. We'll maybe do some trivia to see if we can give away some tickets. And hopefully we'll see you Friday, August 20th at Rockstar Bar. But without further ado, I got my man that next year will be 40 years that we've known and worked with each other, and we must have met when we were 3 years old, because I know we're not that old. But ladies and gentlemen, let's now give it up for DJ Frankie.
Oh, yeah. All right. Check this out. Yeah, okay. So, Las Vegas is great. And I've had so much fun being in this business with Rob and everybody else that we've worked with over the years. And the clubs have been great. But me coming from New York, I was involved in a few things that I did not know were going to become popular as the hip-hop culture. The hip-hop culture didn't have a term when I started writing graffiti. And that's known as the very first element of the hip-hop culture. I was doing graffiti since 1974.
Isn't that vandalism?
No, not at all. It's street art. Come on, vandalism.
So you were involved with that element of culture starting when? What year was that?
1974 on my own. I was tagging the insides. And in 75, I teamed up with a guy from the Bronx named Hate168. Eddie was his name.
Wait a minute. Is this actual footage of you
This is
painting?
8mm film footage of me and Eddie in the train yard. And now me and Eddie in the schoolyard of 211 John Wilson Junior High. That's Eddie, Hate168, doing his Ed piece right there. And that's me right next to it, FA. And that's me with the Tweety Bird shirt and the mop hairdo. And, we were doing that for a few years. I mean, I was doing graffiti from 74 to 81. Even when I lived out here, I was going back and still writing. But my big years were 76 to 78, bombing all lines. LL, K, J, RR, GG, whatever. I was king of a few lines. So, a lot of fun. That was in a book. Some kid sent that to me. There's also the schoolyard. I did that's the one I'm looking for. I did the Park House.
This graffiti and this part of your life, was you into music and DJing? Did that all start together?
All around the same time it all started. Like I said, I had no idea it was going to have a name connected to it a few years later. Started with the graffiti, then I was DJing. My brother brought home turntables and a mixer that he borrowed from somebody in the neighborhood.
Shout out to Mike.
Oh, yeah. Got me started in a lot of things, my brother, musically. It was great having an older brother who was into all that stuff that I also had an interest in, and it made it easier for me to jump right into it. So he brought home those 2 turntables and a mixer, and we were both fooling around with that for a while. And when we moved to Vegas, I thought I was going to be a drummer. I thought I was going to get in a lounge band, and I ended up liking the DJing more. And when I came to town, I started going to the clubs and talking to all the DJs and saying, let me spin. And some of them would let me spin when they went to the bathroom. And that's how I got my job at the brewery. The guy said, we'll hire you. So
shout out to Ray Pratt. Before we get to the history, if we had to give a trophy away to our best attendance, biggest supporter, I met Ray back in '82, but from '82 till last event last year, he's been at every single event. He's the first one there, the last one to leave. So shout out to Ray. Thanks for always supporting us. But back to your history, Frank.
Yeah, so when I came here and I started working at the brewery, actually, if I got to go chronologically, I started at a rock and roll club called the Troubadour. My brother called up and got me the job. Said, you got to work at this place. There's an ad for a DJ. So we went down there. I got hired. This is it. This is my brother and his friend Beth from New York in the DJ booth.
Mike
Yeah.
Razor.
And if you see the disco top 60 chart in the back, that was great, you know. It was just amazing to relive these times right now, looking at this photo and reliving that. It's amazing because those times were like magic. I think about it now and I can actually feel the magic that I felt back then. Being so excited, not playing in your bedroom anymore and actually playing to a crowd. And it was a rock band. And I would play in between the rock band, and if I had to play rock and roll stuff at first. I was playing like Deborah Harry, Heart of Glass, and I was playing Do You Think I'm Sexy, and mixing it in with the dance music, the real popular stuff, Michael Jackson. And after just a couple of weeks, my side was more crowded than the band side, or at least equally. And I couldn't take a break no more when the band was on. Chuck Haas online.
Shout out to Chucky Juice.
Chucky Juice. He's been on the Magic Mix years ago. He sent in his cassettes back then, and we played them on the Magic Mix. And he's been with me even before Rob. You know, I was doing those clubs in 78, 79. Chuck was one of them guys, along with Jimmy E. and Richard Scotty. All around that time, those were the guys we were playing in the discos. So,
All right.
Yeah, then when I met Rob, I actually met Rob from his sister. She was coming to the brewery.
Shall we?
Yep,
She's watching.
Yeah, Sherry was coming to the brewery, and she told me about her brother, just like you. You should meet him, gave me a cassette. And I got to tell the truth, I didn't listen to it right away. And then the City nightclub opened, and my girlfriend at the time, she was with me at the brewery also. Her name was
Let's
Christine.
talk about the City nightclub.
Yeah. Opened up the City nightclub above the roller skating rink and commercial center, which I know is a club now, I heard. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see if the mirror...
Here's some actual footage coming up of the city, but once again, I did tell my sister to give you the cassette. We'll get into that story a little later.
Yeah, so
as well.
she gave me the cassette, and me and my girl used to wash my car a lot. Guidos do that, you know. We wash the car like every day. I don't know, but we were in the back. That's the City nightclub. Made it look like a subway platform with the subway tile and the subway posters. This is the upstairs at the City nightclub. That's the DJ booth. Perry Stassi behind me, and my mom looking in through the window. And me and Perry are still friends there for all these years as well. And playing, and all of a sudden she plays the cassette, and I think it's mine. I'm like, oh, I'm playing this, and I usually go into this after that, and all of a sudden the song goes into the Smurf, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't go into the Smurf Tyrone Brunson after that. Whose is this? And she goes, it's that kid's R.O.B.s. His name's on it. And it was a belt-driven turntable, so to take off, because Rob was throwing in records from the first beat, as was I. And I never heard anybody else do that. And he threw it in from the beginning, and it was because you have to push those belt-driven turntables. And he did such a good job holding it together. It's a picture of me and Rob in New York in '88. But the mix was great, and I said, I got to call this guy, and I think I did.
Yeah, and I called you on the radio station, and I said, hey, I want to come check you out. And I was underage, and you were working at the City nightclub. Yeah. You said the tape was great, and you wanted me to come check you out at the City. I said, am I going to be able to get in? You said, yeah, don't worry about it. So I go to the City nightclub, and he lets me in the DJ booth, and he's doing some stuff. I'm with a buddy of mine, rest in peace, Nick Carajon. We're watching Frankie DJ, and
I was cutting up the challenge
by Dr. Jekyll, Mr.
by
Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and I was doing when it goes freak. I took it and I went freak, freak the first time. Second time I went freak, freak, freak. And they were like, no way. They thought that was so fast. Meanwhile, within a year, he was faster than me doing that same trick and other tricks I haven't even thought of.
But, you know, before I met Frankie, 1981, I started DJing, and I got real serious about DJing. I ended up doing the house parties and making the mixtapes for the friends and doing the high school dances, And I thought, hey, I'm the king of this. I thought I was the only one doing that. And then when I heard him doing the mix show and Play at Your Own Risk or something was playing, I said, wait a minute. And I called you on the radio show, and I said, hey, because he had said that he was a drummer and he was Italian and he was a DJ. And then I heard all this music coming from the East Coast. I said, oh, this is cool. So I called him on the show and I said, hey, I'm Italian. I'm a DJ. I'm a drummer. We got to hook up. He said, that's when he said, come to the City. We went to the City. And next thing you know, we hook
40
up.
years later.
We start doing parties. We start doing mix shows. We do dances at the park, remixes, production. Yeah. We're going to get into all that. But continue with after the City, what happened?
Well, after the City, let's see. What happened after the City? I covered the Troubadour. After the City, me and Hypo Scott were doing some stuff. I started the Magic Mix radio show because of Rob Holiday.
Shout out to Rob Holiday.
Yeah. Rob Holiday was from New York, And we did promotions up at the City Nightclub because Hurt and Bad was helping me do promotions. And me and Hurt and Bad met at the roller rink.
There's Rob Holiday.
That's Rob Holiday right there at the KUNV station. You see my turntables there in the mixer. But what had happened was me and Hurt met at the roller rink. I was going to pick up Rachel Zimmerman and her sister Michelle at the roller skating rink. And I walked in and they weren't out front, so I had to go find them. And while I was in there, I heard the DJ cutting up. I didn't even look for them anymore. I went right to the DJ booth, started talking to Hurt. And I was like, I work at the brewery, and, this was before the City, which was right above that. And Hurt was saying, really? And I said, yeah. And I said, let me cut that up a little bit. He was cutting up Flirt.
By Cameo.
So I said, let me get a little bit of that. And he trusted me, and he let me do it. And I did a little trick with the down. And I was just throwing in the second down. And he was doing it a different way with one beat behind. And he was just crossfade. But I took it by hand and was going before and after. Bow, bow, bow. Anyway, they started rapping a few minutes after that. And I said, let me get the microphone. And they laughed and they said, yeah, give it to him. So I did my rap. And from that day on, me and him were close. And he helped me with the City Nightclub. And he really gave me a big break in this market on that level. I was just a club DJ before that. He's the one who made me known. And Robert Holiday said, let's do a radio show with you mixing on it. And I said, great. And I did it. And then people from KCP were saying, Taro Plazar, he called me up and said, listen, I want that show on the KCP as well. So I had it on both stations. Then I joined up with Hypo. And
where's Hypo? Let's see here.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I'll tell you what, me and Hypo were together in the disco days. What had happened when I was at that rock club, the Troubadour, a lot of DJs came to check me out. They heard there was this DJ from New York, a young kid. By the way, I was underage too at the time. And he came to check me out. And a lot of guys came to check me out, but Hypo let it be known he was a DJ. He was listening to every mix, shaking his head. So he came up to the booth and we started talking. He was from New York as well. And I asked a few DJs around town and they were kind of jealous of him. They were like, he's all right, but this and that. And he was working on Paradise Road at a little club. It was a gay club right next door to Gypsy. And I went and checked him out. And I said, these guys just must have been jealous because he started like us from the first beat. He threw in Flashlight from the beginning. And those of you who are DJs know how hard that is. It starts out with the that's really hard to ride. And he wrote it from the beginning into the mix. And I was like, these guys are just jealous of him. Now I know why they were talking about him in a negative manner because he was great. So we teamed up and we started doing stuff together. And the Magic Mix started with me. Then I brought in Hypo. And then Hypo was a radio guy. He actually knew how to work the board and play the commercials out of the log and all that. So he moved shortly after that. And as we were doing dances, hotel dances, Rob was in the background. And you can see him in some videos. He's behind watching everything. And I knew he was good. And as soon as Hypo left, boom, Rob came right in and we were doing the shows together. And although we were working together and we were friendly and we were doing weddings and fight after parties at Caesar's Palace together, now he jumped in the spot of Hypo as the second-hand guy.
Shout out,
Hypo didn't move.
Shout out to wifey.
Hi, Carla.
She'll get mad if I don't say shout out.
If Hypo didn't move, who knows what would have happened? But Hypo did move, and we still stay in touch as well. And he's a big radio guy in Alaska, and he's been in many markets. You know, he's well known in that field. But me and Rob, from that point on, started going nuts. And
so
then the radio show got taken over by Dino instead of Rob Holiday.
KUNV.
And then it was all three of us.
I joined the mix show.
Right. And Rob, we had Street Beat, a crew called Street Beat by that time.
I got a picture of that.
And it was me, you, Rory.
We're going to start from there.
Okay.
With the history of us actually DJing together on their station, at the park, at the hotel parties, my parties, your parties.
From the Magic Mix on from this point.
I got to give some shout outs. We got tons of people here that we got to say hi to. And
Good.
When you see these guys, you're going to trip out who's over here watching. You got Miles. What up, Miles? You got Dickie Pride, Daryl Williams, Freddie Wells, my dance partner from Sounds of the Sun. El Dorado High School. We're going to talk about El Dorado in a second.
Dickie Pride,
DJ
how are
Tino.
you?
Adele.
Adele, how are you?
Albert.
Oh, boy, look at all these people. Sally.
Speaking of my sister.
Yep. Darryl Williams.
My roadie, Ray Pratt. Used to help me out on my gigs back in the days.
And meanwhile, they started out
What's
not
up,
being
Greg?
friends. They started out with a little bit of a brawl and then became good friends from that point on.
But I'm going to try to get
You're not going to go into your capping session?
Capping?
Yeah,
Capping
when you met Ray.
Okay. Since we're talking about El Dorado High School, Ray, you remember this. I was known kind of as the king of capping. We call it throwing shame. We call it the dozen. What do we call it? Everything. But we call it capping here on the West Coast.
Called it in New York.
Ranking.
Yes, rank sessions. Rank sessions. That's what they call it in New York.
Every lunch time at El Dorado, there would be a round table, and all of a sudden, every 5-10 seconds, bursts of laughter because somebody got somebody. I was killing everybody. I had my crew of people, and I was capping, and I said something. Ray was sitting there next to me, and we kind of just knew each other. We weren't really friends yet, but I said something, some cap, and everybody in the whole cafeteria laughed. He got mad. He did his Bruce Lee stance. That wasn't funny, and he came up on me. Of course, I had my clique of people, so nothing ever happened, but it was funny. He got mad. We ended up getting close. We ended up breakdancing together. We brought him into the cruise, and like I say, one of the biggest supporters, my old school OG homie, Ray Pratt. He's
so talented.
He's trolling the comments right now.
He's still a good dancer after all these years, and he does the Bruno Mars thing, and he's just a talented guy who's a hustler. Love you, Ray.
My man Nar.
Nar helps us out all the
printing
time.
Company in Sin City, Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
He's hooking up with our posters. We got posters we're going to need from you soon. He's dope. Great graphics, great artist, great print company. Shout out to Shannon DuPont.
Oh, Shannon. And now she is a well-known person in the nightlife world. As soon as you started to the clubs, from the Light Group to Taboo. Shannon, I'm so glad you're listening. I hope we see her at the event. I hope we see her on the event.
While we got a bunch of people, we're going to start that story again about me, you, the mix show, the dances in the park, the parties moving forward. But we did talk about giving away some tickets.
Yep.
So I'm going to remind you once again, we're about 15, 20 minutes into the Facebook Live, and we're trying to get about an hour and 15 minutes of the show. Because, look, we're going to do this every Friday leading up to the August 20th reunion 2021. So we'll have more subject matter to cover in those other ones. We'll try to cover some of the basics today. But I promise we're going to give away some tickets. So let me first explain. The party is Friday, August 20th at Rockstar Bar. For those of you just joined the live feed, it's at Rockstar Bar, Las Vegas Boulevard. Great new venue, free parking, no downtown drama of trying to park and walk to the venue. Right across from Town Square Mall. We got tickets on sale now. I'll put a link in this Facebook Live when it's over, but there's a link to Eventbrite where you can get your tickets early. This is I don't know what the capacity is. It's an indoor-outdoor venue, but we've already had a great response. I think all the tables are almost sold out.
Yeah, almost.
And this is just word of mouth. We haven't did a hit the streets promo yet. But for some of you that are watching right now and in the feed, showing your messages, showing your comments, and by the way, if you have a question for us, just type in question. Hi, Cookie. And we're going to answer those questions. Or if you want to share a memory of how you met us or a story about us or a club or a party that we did, put it in the comments. We'll try to get to all of that. But for right now, Frankie's going to do a little trivia question. I'm watching these messages.
Okay.
The first one to reply with the correct answer gets 2 tickets. Let me see how we're going to do that. Let's go.
Well, let me let you know that we got nightlife questions that we didn't even cover nightlife yet. We still are doing the dances to the Magic Mix when we started doing what we were doing before we were in the major nightclubs. So I think I'll ask a question pertaining to that stuff that we've been talking about so far. So let's see. Here we go.
Get ready with your answer.
Yeah, this one's, I think it's a pretty easy one. The first person who could name the first nationally known rap songs, the first 2, only the first 2 nationally known rap songs, you get your free ticket to the August 20th reunion event. Now, that's an easy one, and it's along the lines of what we're talking about, and we're going in chronological order from back in the day with graffiti, so that's why I asked this question now. Once
nationally
again,
known, not nationally released?
Yeah, naturally released and naturally known. In other words, there was probably some underground
So
labels.
if they say one of the 2, we should give it away, because I don't know if everybody's going to get 2, but we'll see.
Let's see how deep people are into this. And in reality, the credit goes to one rather than the other, because one song was actually a song. It was not a rap. It was a song that had a rap in it. So it loses a little bit of ground because of the category it fell in, because it was a song, and it was by a group that had many songs out, and this one just happened to have a rap in it. And the other one was specifically a rap.
Okay,
we know rap.
Dickie Pride's got one. Is he correct?
What does he say? I can't see that from here.
Let me take my tickets off.
Let me see what he said. I have to
Look at right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Dickie Pride is right. Rapper's Delight was the first nationally known and nationally distributed rap song. It was on Sugar Hill Records.
Cookie, you're late.
Yep, and it first came out on a red label from Sugar Hill. They didn't even have artwork yet. And then later, when it became so wide known and spread across the world, they put it on the other label. But let me tell you part two of that question.
Well, let's first let Dickie know that he did get the free tickets.
Yeah, you got the free tickets, Dickie. You won the first answer. And Dickie Pride's been in the scene for years. He's been into rockabilly, but he's a music lover of all kinds. As you can see, he knew this answer before even strong hip-hoppers. So anyway, part two of that question was the Fatback Band, who had many, many hits, from Spanish Hustle to Money. Had so many songs, Freak the Freak. But they had a song called King Tim III, and the rapper was King Tim. And he rapped in a song that was called King Tim. But it didn't get that much credit, even though they both came out basically at the same time, because it was a song made by a band. And it was just a song that had a rap featured in it. And Sugar Hill Gang was a rap, straight out rap the whole way. So once again, Dickie Pride won.
We're going to do another trivia question in about 10, 15 minutes. So let's see your comments. Let's see your questions. Let's see your memories. We'll try to give you some more shout outs. We're going to get back into some history. But Dickie won the first pair of tickets. Now, how do you redeem those tickets? You're automatically on the list at the front door. We're not going to find you and give you a pair of tickets.
Unless he wants to pick them up, don't forget.
You can pick them up. We can leave your name, but
you can pick them up at the venue.
Just show up. You'll be on the list, but if you want to go early and pick them up at the venue, they have a great bar, restaurant. You can go check out the venue before the party just to see, get your feelings about the venue and know where it's at, where to park, blah, blah, blah. But thanks once again, Dickie Pride, for the right answer. And for the rest of you, August 20th, Friday, August 20th, the Reunion 2021 party is back.
9 p.m. till whenever.
Right.
So picking up where we left off, when we were doing the Magic Mix and we were getting a lot of following, we had to test it and see how many people are actually listening. So for 3 weeks, we promoted, we're going to be at JC Park right after the show. We're going out to JC Park. And that turned out to be such a beautiful thing because I was on the board of the Italian American Club at the time, and their back wall faces JC Park. So we connected about 3 extension cords, 100-footers, and we brought the sound system down to, what was that school?
KO or
something?
Somebody in the comments should know.
Yeah.
JC Park, that school that hugged the street right there on Sahara.
Yeah.
That's where we did the parties.
So we announced it on the radio, and it was packed. But here's the thing. All the kids who were into hip-hop and rap, they were all on the floor, the tarmac, where the basketball courts were, where our sound system was. And they were all there. And then all the kids who live in the neighborhood who probably knew nothing about it were in the park, and they were getting closer and closer. And by the 4th song, they were on the tarmac. And on the 5th song, they were dancing with everybody. And to me, I got to say, it's emotional that I really think that was a huge reason why everybody got together. Black, white, Asian, Latino, it didn't matter. And you always heard that music is the universal language that brings everybody together. But that was proof of it to me. And we saw everybody come together. And from that day on, the Magic Mix had a following. And we did dances at the hotels. And it was unbelievable. We were even on the news. It was a very, very popular thing that took Las Vegas by storm at that time.
I think I got the news footage here. Check it out.
If you do, that's great. That's awesome.
I don't think I have the audio on.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's why I picked up the earphones. But this was great. And, of course, back then they were
the reason why to put the audio on Facebook flags, we were playing music, and I'm telling you, 5-10 seconds, I think Extraterrestrial, E.T. was playing one of those songs. But I just, I don't want to play no music because we'll get flagged and taken off Facebook. We can't play any of our hit songs. There's Ray.
There's Ray.
1983. If you watch the end of this footage loop, you're going to see the date. Guess who that is? Giselle.
That was Giselle is right. Yeah, this was great. I'm glad we got this footage. I'm glad we kept a lot of this stuff. So after this was on the news, and this wasn't... Oh, my
Who's
God.
that?
Oh, my man. I was only 67 in that picture.
Look at Ray.
Ray again. But this was at the time when the news reporters was all saying it started with the gangs and this and that. That's not true. There might be some truth to it, but that's not the basic reason it started. Came from the Bronx. There was crews who did a lot of this footwork and made up their own dancing. It became popular. They battled other crews. There's R.O.B. At that time, it was DJ R.O.B. He didn't have the right on beat connected to his name at that time. I mean, look at these kids. They absolutely had time invested in this dance before it was even popular. That kid was doing some good popping moves, you know. So I got to say, in my opinion, and I know people are going to hate me for this, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, I got to say that Las Vegas jumped on this scene before parts of L.A. I mean, we were doing this before it exploded nationally. Before it was a big trend, it was already a natural, organic thing for New York and for Vegas. Because I remember coming back from a trip in New York in 1982, and Rob can tell you this. I came back from a trip in 1982. I was writing graffiti with OI and some other big writers from the Bronx.
There's Pat.
And they took me to a layup in the Bronx. And we went to a layup. It's tunnels. In the tunnels, they park the trains when it's not so crowded, not so busy. They park them in the middle so the other trains can still hit the platforms and get people on them. But in the middle aisles, they park trains. Anyway.
So check out that news footage.
Yeah.
That was 1983.
Well, anyway, we were piecing on the trains, and when we came out, we went to a park. And when we went to this park, the kids were doing this. They were breakdancing and popping, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I told OI, hold on, there's a DJ connected to the light pole. He's got a wires just connected to the pole. I got to watch this. And he was like, come on, let's go. I was like, no, this is great. Anyway, I came back and showed Rob. I said, Rob, look at this crazy thing they were doing in New York. And I ran in my kitchen on the linoleum floor, and I tried to do a spin on my back. I said, this is what they were doing. And Rob, being the guy he is, he investigated all that stuff. And we were watching, a year after that, we started watching, Wild Style and Style Wars. And
there's your date tag, KLAS, Las Vegas, 1983.
1983.
There's some historic footage for you, talking about going back. But we're talking about breakdancing and studying it. And like you said, I think it got popular in Vegas very fast.
Yeah. So we, we started doing all these dances, and we're trying to go chronological, but you see us veering off into different years. But we're trying to go chronological before we even get to the nightclubs. So this all happened before the nightclubs were popular and before they were in major hotels. And that's the City Break Force was...
I'm going to show you a picture of that if I can find it.
The City Break Force was so well known that when they made the movie Breakin', a lady, Andrea something, I don't remember her last name, she came to us at Lipstick where we were doing a breakdance show. And she actually said, I'm doing a movie on breakdancing, and I'd like to see some of your talent. A lot of people told us that, you had this breakdance crew and poppers and lockers and all this stuff. So she came to Lipstick and checked out our show. We used to do a show every Sunday at Lipstick, a breakdance show. And
trying to find our first promo picture from City Break Force. I had it in here.
With Scooby breaking Mac, Pat, Ray, and Rob. With Scooby breaking Mike, Pat, Ray, and Rob. There's nobody better on the breaking job. That was one of the raps that we had at the time going over the show while they would do the show. And it was pretty cool. And there was lockers who were really good lockers, who Scooby being one of them. He was a great
This isn't
locker.
the original picture, but this is one of them.
Well, we did Wayne Newton's New Year's Eve party at Caesar's Palace. And we did after fight parties at Caesar's Palace, Holmes, Frazier, so many of them. And like I said, we did that party at Wayne Newton's New Year's Eve. Jerry Lewis was there, Robert Goulet. There was so many people at that party. And we were just so happy that we were the big guys called for every event that was happening in major hotels.
There it
is. There's the promo.
That was our first promo picture. So tell them about this.
Well, this is live footage from Lipstick. This is actually part of that breakdance show we used to do every Sunday. And
there's me.
I think it was a 30-minute show, if I'm not mistaken. And it wasn't just dancing. There was skits in the middle. There was a little bit of storytelling. It was rap. And then they came, look at Rob. Because I know you guys had two outfits. You had the blue outfit, and then you had this red and white.
Yeah, costume
outfit.
Changes and everything back then.
Yeah, it was a cool thing. Very cool. Let's see what happened after. Well, then That's Entertainment came into the scene.
Yeah, we got to get into That's Entertainment because that's where
a lot of it happened for everybody else who wasn't allowed to get in the clubs at that time, and they only could come to J.C. Park if they were teens. But what had happened is we saw this following being so big from these breakdance shows and from the stuff we did at J.C. Park. But a lot of people weren't old enough to come to some of the clubs, all of the clubs actually. So we started doing hotel dances. The first one I did was at the El Rancho. And a friend of mine named Jerry, he said to me, listen, I'm doing a thing at the El Rancho. They want me to promote bowling. Do you think we can do something? And I was like, well, we can do an event with 500 kids and pass out flyers to give them half price off bowling. And if they don't go that night, they can go whenever. And that'll be a promo. And he was like, good idea. Let's do it. So we did the El Rancho Hotel, and it was packed.
What was this hotel that we're watching?
That's the Hacienda. That's the Hacienda. And this is actually Wiz Rock. He was in the video. He was in that Gap Band video,
Yes,
Party
right.
Train at on Venice Beach. He was in that video.
Shout out to Malcolm.
Oh, Malcolm, man, what a shame. Malcolm was great. And you know what? This guy, he was an all-around dancer. He wasn't even a break dancer. His crew was the Boppers, and they were mostly known for popping. But Malcolm could do a little bit of everything. Such a talented crew here in Vegas. Before anything really happened, these guys were all on the trend. And
There's
you know
the
why?
Tropicana.
Organically. Now, this was the very first dance that showed breakdancing. It was the very first dance.
Of course, Ray is there.
And Ray wasn't even in the crew yet. We didn't even have City Break Force yet. This was an event to have a dance contest for breaking that we can see who were the best dancers that we can put in this crew.
So to explain this, though, this footage is from parties that we threw because we introduced this music to the masses through the free park parties, the actual radio shows, all the other parties we did before. People would come out in droves, black, white, red, and brown, just to dance, get along, no drama. But that's what you're looking at now.
And see, Pat right here, it's really funny because Pat was doing these moves off my house. He was jumping on my house and doing flips, and I heard the noise, and I opened up, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm flipping off the wall. I said, oh, that's great. My father will go crazy, but that's great. Anyway, I became friendly with Pat. He became friendly with Breakin' Mike before Breakin' Mike was known as Breakin' Mike, and he's the one who taught him these moves, and I had to talk to Breakin' Mike's parents to bring him out to an event, and it was this event, and he was all nervous because he's not a show-off or nothing. And he came to this event. This kid was from the Bronx. I think his name was Cricket. I'm not sure.
So that's
and that
just
was WC before that. That was DJ WC
this is
before
just
him.
some historical footage of the explosion of breakdance. When I say explosion, 83-ish, 84-ish, we were throwing parties. And even if we didn't promote it as a breakdance party, there was always a circle going on.
Well,
but
some of them were more soul-oriented. Some of them were just R&B. Some of them were breakdance.
There's Twin.
Yeah, some of them were just the pop music of the day.
There's yours truly.
There's R.O.B.
But this is 83, but this leads up to one of the biggest teen clubs.
Yeah.
And
so what had happened, I'm doing the hotel dances, and I get approached by the owner. And I had a radio show, of course, on KUNV 91.5 from the university. By this time, it was Dino hosting it. And he hosted Magic Mix after Rob Holiday left, and we started promoting. And
Look at this footage.
I got approached by the owner of that teen club. He was doing different stuff at the teen club before he met me, and he said, "Listen, I'd like you to come and do a Saturday night." And I said, "Well, I do dances once a month at the hotel. I make all my money for myself. I don't know if I'd be interested." And the guy explained, "Well, you're going to be doing it 4 weeks in a row. You'll end up making the same money with no hassles and no worries." And I thought about it, and I said, there is some logic to that. Yeah, let's do it. So we stopped doing the majority of the hotel dances, and we moved the party to That's Entertainment. It worked out so great, changed so many people's lives, Ray again, that we ended up getting Ken Jordan, who's now internationally known as Crystal Method, and he ended up doing Friday nights with New Wave. So all the kids who were not into this scene, they were into the New Wave scene. Stuff like "Don't You Forget About Me" and "You Can Dance If You Want to," the safety dance and all that stuff, which I like all that stuff as well. But he was the king of that. And he started doing that on his radio show on KUNV 91.5, and he started doing Friday nights at That's Entertainment with New Wave. We continually did Saturday nights with hip-hop, and the thing exploded. I mean, it exploded. We were getting people from L.A. coming in on the weekends just for this club. It was great. It was great.
Well, Albert,
crews. Name some of the crews. You remember all those crews.
We're going to get into the Bomb Squad, Albert.
Yeah, yeah. So you know the crews and the high schools that went. Oh, that's Breakin' Mike. This kid was shy 1 year earlier when he came out to the Tropicana and danced for the first time in his life. And now his whole confidence changed and his life changed. There's Pat, the guy who taught him.
This is actual footage from That's Entertainment at one of those parties were on Sunday? Saturday, okay.
Every Saturday. Yeah, well,
one of our flyers says Sunday. I'll show you the old school flyer.
Because we rented a few nights on our own. And we also did Thanksgiving. We took away from, they were going to close on Thanksgiving. I said, let's rent it. But our normal night was Saturday night, and Ken Jordan was Friday. What do you got next for us?
Well, this is an actual flyer from That's Entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. That was because there was no school Monday. So whenever there was no school Monday, I would say, give it to me. And he would let me rent it out because he felt it wasn't going to be a big crowd. And I know they were good crowds, but on Thanksgiving, he thought it was going to be dead, and it was packed. It was one of our most packed nights, and we rented it that night for that party. That's Cosmic Kid, a good rapper back in the day.
We were so busy spinning. We also wanted to hype the crowd and have an MC, but me and Frankie were doing 4 turntables at That's Entertainment. So we're busy DJing. So we need an MC to hype up the crowd so we could do what we're doing. And
Johnny Roxy joined after that.
I think Johnny Roxy is in the chat as well. What up, Johnny?
Oh, what's up, Johnny Roxy?
Society.
Yeah. So Cosmic and Johnny would rap. And, of course, Stacy G and the crew from Greg Knight and all those guys, they had their own radio show after I left 88.1 with a mix show. They were doing a mix show years later. And we had a friendly competition going back and forth, you know. And now it's hard to do the rappers at the event because the venues don't want to stop the action. We don't want to stop the action. So it's just hard. We got people who want to do dance routines on stage. We got, you know, it's rough.
What we had to do was create crews. And Ray, correct me, but if I remember correctly, we did our city break force and all this. And I said, hey, we need to like split up crews. So creating the Bomb Squad was something I did. And it wasn't just a breakdance crew. You had your graffiti, your MC, your DJ, which was me, your breakdancers, blah, blah, blah. But I think I told Ray, you need to come up with a separate crew so that we can throw events where we battle. So Rock Skittle crew, that's Ray. Bomb Squad. Here's some footage of the Bomb Squad. This is historic footage, guys.
This is great. That piece was huge. It was behind, I don't actually remember where it was. It was on the train tracks.
By That's Entertainment, that industrial area.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was in the industrial area. I mean, that was really big. And we actually did those silhouettes by, there was a light on at night, and we chalked it out. Mm-hmm. We chalked it out at night, knowing we were coming about the next day, and we put it into the piece. That was the Big Beat. It's a documentary that you can see on YouTube.
Yeah, we published it.
It says Big Beat, Las Vegas to New York, hip hop, and the whole footage. If you want to see the whole documentary about everything back in that day, check it out on YouTube. The Big Beat, Las Vegas to New York, or New York to Las Vegas. You'll find
There's Wayne. There's Eric, Al, Davey DMX. Historic footage. So we're kind of taking you back and forth throughout some of the years, but we're kind of like at 84, you know, we're kind of in chronological order still. But like I say, the popularity of the breakdancing and then creating the crews, guess what happened? We had to throw parties where crews battled. And people came for 2 reasons, because they knew it was going to be a great dance party at a hotel, and they were going to get to see some breakers battle. They were representing schools. They were representing cliques. So that's what was going on, you know. Here's a famous breaker battle.
Okay, this was at the Dunes. Yeah, that was at the Dunes Hotels. Not even
one of my very first crews before I even met Frankie.
Smurfs
was the Smurfs. Shout out to Jimmy, Danny, rest in peace, Nick. 4 white boys doing breakdancing. This was 80-81, and we actually.
You had Latinos.
We did this contest at a high school, it was a big dance contest, and we won. And some agent was at the dance contest. When we won, he ended up booking us, and we were doing shows at hotels as the Smurfs. It's crazy.
Look, the twins are on that.
But do you remember that party, Frankie?
Sophisticated gents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard 'em bad?
Yeah, Heard 'em bad. Heard 'em was a big influence on me. Not only for the city nightclub, just for everything. And he got me really well known with a whole cultured audience that I wasn't even aware of. He got me on KVOV, hooked me up with DC Ryder, helped me with the Magic Mix with Rob Holiday from the city nightclub. Great. So this is the Rocksteady crew. And we did the Rocksteady crew, Byron Davis, and the LA Dream Team at the Troubadour. Now, when I first worked at the Troubadour, of course, it was a rock club. But a few years later, new owners took it over, and they were having problems. They lost their liquor license. They came to me and said, listen, can you make a team club here? And I said, but I'm already at That's Entertainment. That's why they want you. So one of the owners of That's Entertainment's father owned that place, and he had to save it for his father. And Colby came over to me and said, Frank, we'd be willing to give you $3 off the door. I know you only make $1 off the door at That's Entertainment. I said, all right. So I went to That's Entertainment. I told the owner, listen, they want to offer me $3, but I've been here with you, and I don't want to break up the crowd. If you just give me 50 cents more, $1.50, I'll stay. And he said, I don't believe you. I don't believe that's true. Do it if you want. I said, okay. So I did it. And that next week, how many customers did he have? Do you know?
I don't even know.
He had one customer, and it was DJ Mike. And DJ Mike came to the Troubadour right after that and said, yo, nobody was there. Everybody's here. And it was jam-packed. Troubadour was packed. But one of the best stories of that place is the LA Dream Team comes to us because they were booked in town to do a concert.
Rockberry. I don't want to get flagged.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Can't sing it too good.
The Dream Team. Well, anyway, the Dream Team came to us and said, listen, we're sorry to bother you, but we got hired for this concert, and the concert got canceled. They can't even pay us enough to drive home. We need money to drive home. I said,
what up, Mini Mike?
Mini Mike in the house. So I said, all right, listen, you need money to perform? And he was like, yeah, we want to perform tonight. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Let me promote this in a few weeks, and we'll do a good party. He goes, great, I'm down with that. This is Rudy Pardee of the LA Dream Team, who also owns his own record store in California. So I said, here, Rudy, here's $400, and just, let's stay in touch, and we'll do a show in a few weeks. Rob says to me as they walk away, he goes, you ain't never going to see that money again. You're never going to hear from him. I'm going, oh, man, I hope not. 3 weeks later, I called up Rudy. I go, Rudy, I'd like to do the event. And he goes, great, I'm booked next week, but the week after that, I'm free. Let's do it. I said, you think we could do 2 shows? We'll do 2 shows. He goes, yeah, let's do it. They came to town. We packed it out for both shows. And this is on a handshake deal of people who did not even know each other, but we were in the same world. We were both professionals. They owned the record store. I knew they were real businessmen. And we were doing what we were doing with the clubs and the hotel dance parties, and it worked out great. We stayed friends for many years and stayed in touch. And of course,
don't forget the story of God. There's so many. Dr. Dre and NW Wrecking Crew
God.
when I was scratching.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Killing him, and then Jam Master Jay. We got so many.
Now this is a true story. All right, so. One time, anyway, we did Houdini at the park with Hurt and Bad, and Grandmaster D was mixing, and I actually did a better job than him with the good times, going back and forth, and then he wanted it and blah, blah, blah. But Rob, many years later, we already did a gig with, we promoted a gig that we were doing with Dr. Dre and the Wrecking Crew, and they canceled it the day of the event. Somebody called up jealous and made them check the licenses or the building codes, whatever it was, and we were canceled. In no time at all, I called up the roller skating rink, rest in peace, Angela Howell, and her family owned the roller skating rinks, and I said, I got to move this party to the roller skating rink right away. And even though we moved it and only had a few hours to talk about the change on the radio, it was really good. But that night, we went to go get the equipment out of the Troubadour because we knew we weren't going to be able to do the show in the Troubadour, and it was me, Rob, and Dr. Dre. Was anybody else with us?
Maybe one of their clique.
Maybe somebody else from their clique, but I remember it just me, Rob, and Dr. Dre. So Rob starts cutting up behind a turntable, and Dre goes, wow, that's good. Let me get some. So Dre gets some. He does a good routine. And then Rob comes back on. I'm not joking. He killed him. He did great stuff, and Dre was good. But Rob did so much good stuff. And like I say, Rob was the first time. I was going to say, Rob did transforming. I've never heard anybody else do that. So if the record is It's Time, for those of you who don't know what transforming is, he would take the toggle switch on the top of the mixer so you don't got to go up and down with the whole pot. And it was going, it's...
No, I waited for the... I don't want to get flagged for copyright.
Yeah, but whatever it is, he would transform, and that's how you do it. You cut out every other sound really fast. So he was cutting it out, and that might have been the first time I've seen it. And Dre was just going, wow, you are smoking. You are great. And we drank beers that night, and we had a good time inside there just showing off in front of each other. And
the crazy thing is, we'll get to the story about Dino co-producing the album. And I happen to be a dancer, obviously. So when Dino's album and single blew up, he was like, Rob, I got a show in Palm Springs. I said, well, that's great. He said, but they want a show. I said, yeah. He said, well, I need dancers and everything. And me and Kev Rock, shout out to Kev Rock, when I was working at Mr. G's, we'll get into that as well. But this is kind of on the Dr. Dre story. I started touring with Dino as a dancer because not only was I producing and helping him out, I could dance. So me and my buddy had routines we made up in the DJ booth every night. We had routines ready to go for whatever song it was. So we did a show in Fresno, California with the Wrecking Crew. And this was about 1 year, 2, 3 years later. And Dr. Dre recognized me and he goes, Vegas. Yeah. But
we talked to him a couple of years later because I stayed in touch with Alonzo. And, you know, in the movie, they make Lonzo look, you know, and Straight Outta Compton, they make Lonzo look like he was so old fogey and old-fashioned. It's not true. He had a smart business approach. He was scared that the club they worked in, if they played just rap all night, it would ruin the R&B factor and the adults who were going. And he was smart by saying that. You know, rap was gigantic on the streets and dances and promos, but there was no rap clubs at that time. So in the movie, they try to play it off like he was out of touch. It's not really true, in my opinion. But there's a little bit more on the Dino thing. Dino is another so talented promoter, producer, DJ extraordinaire. He was a DJ too. So he produced a jazz song back in the day and let us hear it on the sound system at Mr. G's. He let us hear it. And we were like, that's cool, you know, but it's jazz. I mean, we'd have nothing to, we can't promote that or whatever. And then we said to him, you should do a dance song. And he did. And he let us hear Summer Girls. And we were like, wow, the 808, everything, it was really good. And then he got pressed on a label and he was doing shows like with Rob and then he said, let's do the remix. And we did the remix. And I wrote the rap in the middle of it. And that's actually us whistling on it. And his career took off. The music videos, Island Records, it was great. And he started just as the DJ on...
we got to talk about the first record before that. Well, actually, the jazz thing was before.
Yeah, the jazz thing was first. He let us
and then we said, oh, we didn't know he could do all that with the keyboards. And
well, he didn't even brag. He didn't brag and tell us about that.
Here's the thing about being a DJ in a dance club.
You hear hits all night.
You hear hits all night. You know what's getting people to the dance floor, and you start analyzing. Well,
you know the tempo. You know the keyboard.
When I play that song with the 808 beats, they attract to the floor because of that bottom bass. And I was working at Mr. G's. Shout out to Jack Lardy, Michael Lardy. We just had a shout out from Dickie Pride about them. Mr. G's, I started analyzing these songs and what made them hits, and I started buying drum machines and keyboards and this and that. And me and Frankie said, we're going to make an electro record.
Right.
So let's get into that.
Okay, so what had happened...
what had happened was...
No, you are right, because before Summer Girls, we did this. I forgot about that, so excuse me for that. But what had happened was, we said we're going to make an electro song. So we saw the beats per minute was 126 to 128 on every one of those records. The Debbie Deb sound, the Planet Rock sound.
By the way, this is 1986 we're talking about.
Yeah. And we saw that it was that tempo, and we knew the sounds that they were using in the drum machines, and Rob already bought all that stuff and was experimenting with it. And we knew that Dino was a great keyboard player, piano player. So we said, let's do this record. And we listened to a few records to get influence, and then we said, let's put something into it like what's happening culturally, you know, not actually culturally, excuse me, you know, in the world. So we came up with this World War III concept. We're coming up with this World War III concept. So DEFCON means defense condition. They still use that word today if you're watching the news. And we came up with the concept of a World War III as a possibility in our lifetime. Let's hope we never see it. Let's hope no one ever sees it in their lifetime. But it is an unfortunate possibility. So we came up with this concept that the first piece of the record would be DEFCON 1, when things are dangerous. The second piece of the record would be DEFCON 2, when we're really in war and we got no choice. And DEFCON 3 is they send missiles and we annihilate the world. So that was the concept behind the record, but that wasn't the music behind the record. The music behind the record was me, Rob, and Dino, and DEFCON is the song. And you can also find that on YouTube. It's DEFCON.
You can only play a piece because we don't want to get flagged. Let me take that off the record. Take that off the turntable. Okay. But there's Dino and me and Frankie. That was like our
10-year
little promo shot with the record. We were so excited that we put the record out.
Because the record actually got pressed in Europe, Germany, Spain, and Mexico.
Yeah, we got licensed in the different labels for different countries.
Yeah, and the guy never paid us a dime, McCullough Records. And then we used to talk to Ice-T about it, because Ice-T was on that label. And so was, if you see the movie Straight Outta Compton, we both had those hits the same year. In '86, the 3 hits they had was DEFCON was the lowest hit. Then they had, the biggest hit was Rumors. Look at all these rumors around us everywhere. You know, it's Timex Social Club. And then the third one, real big, was Rollin', what's the name of the song that they did? It was with Dr. Dre and everybody. Rolling down the street in my 6'4".
NWA.
Can't even remember the name. But those were the 3 big records for them that year, the McCullough Record Company. Ice-T had records on their label too, Dog in the Wax, and he had a few of them, and we were all talking that we never got paid. According to Egyptian Lover, he got paid. Egyptian Lover was on the same label as us, and he says he got paid. But everybody else, we had trouble getting our money from McCullough. So where were we after that? After the DEF CON?
Your brother has a comment he wants you to read.
Okay. Hey, you should give your brother. I did. Obviously you weren't listening to the beginning.
You must have been eating a sandwich or
Must
something.
have been eating a sandwich. But yeah, my brother's on, Michael Annabelle, and I said he's the one who got turntables, brought him to the house, and he got me involved in all this stuff. It was
Mike,
great.
you weren't listening.
You weren't listening, Mike. I already give you that comment. But anyway, yeah, that's my brother reminded me to say that, and I already said it earlier. But so what happened after?
Well, we got to get back to the dances, the hotel parties, the future. And we're not going to get into everything. I mean, there's thousands of stories, guys. But here's a quick picture of us on American Bandstand with Dino.
Right.
We did Arsenio Hall. I DJ'd.
And this was like, so right after the DEF CON thing in 86, he became addicted to production. 87, 88, and 89.
You're talking about me, yeah.
He did, Rob did. He started producing for Dino. He started, producing with Dino, but he started producing for the Dino records. He started producing for Biscuit with Biscuit. He started producing Marky Mark, the Marky Mark song.
And the Funky Bunch. That was my first official remix getting paid on Interscope Records, and then I had a good relationship with Interscope Records. I did a lot of
jingles and
talent
everything.
stuff for them,
and
and
stuff
then
for commercials, Annie Granatelli, all kind of stuff.
Did a whole album for Rico Suave, better known as Gerardo, better known as Rico Suave.
Another good friend of ours. Peace out. I love Gerardo. He's a good friend of ours. But
I invested in a recording studio and I stopped DJing for a while.
Right.
And between the traveling with Dino, which was a couple of years, I mean, we toured everywhere, every state. And
American Bandstand, Arsenio
Hall, the MTV Club MTV, and I really got into producing. I actually told Dino I can't dance no more. I got the producing bug, so built a couple studios.
And he also didn't want to. He also didn't want to DJ anymore. But before I get into that, Rob just said a couple of studios. He's on a documentary because his studios got robbed. They broke in and took all the equipment. What's the name of that documentary?
Studio 101 on Flamingo. Jim Guidry knows.
Yeah, Studio 101. But what was the name of the documentary?
The documentary is called, what do you call it when the people keep doing the same crime over and over?
Consistent or...
Repeat Offender. It's on Amazon Prime. It's one of the biggest theft rings in Las Vegas history. And this group of people
millions and millions
robbed
from studios all over the city.
Art places, guitar warehouses, recording studios, TV studios. Electronics galore, millions of dollars with it. It's a documentary on Repeat Offender. It's on Amazon Prime. There's a little segment with me talking about the recording studio robbery, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to talk about the negative stuff. But
anyway, he was into the studio so much that I said, listen, I got this thing with the MGM Grand. We're going to do Fahrenheit. We're going to do this event out at the theme park. Come on, get your dust off yourself and let's DJ. And he was like, I don't want to do that. You're taking me out to stupid DJ again. I'm busy, man. I got no time. But I talked him into it, and we ended up doing it. And it was a huge success, which actually led to the opening of Studio 54.
There I am, DJing.
MGM. We were live with KLUC. We were live on the air the whole time that we were spinning live at the theme park. And it took me a few proposals to get them interested in doing it. And at the time, you still work with him.
Who? Cat Thomas?
Oh, you still work with him. DVD. It's
Chris?
Yes, Chris Coley. My brain, excuse me. I'm old now. But Chris Coley was an entertainment director at the MGM, and I approached him a couple of times with the idea.
This is some mix show footage while we're talking about mix shows.
Rico Suave, Gerardo. But he, because we were on so many mix shows, so many different stations. But he said, Frank, we got to modify your proposal a little for the theme park, but, I can get this happening. And he ended up turning me over to Michelle Tell and a few executives at the MGM Grand, and I pitched the idea, and they went for it. And I brought KLUC in on it, and KLUC said, all right, we're going to give you the live airways, and you guys are going to be live. And I talked Rob into coming back into spinning, and we spun, and it was a huge success. It was drizzling rain our first night. And I'm going to just give you a short version, with this, but the hotel was nervous, and they said, can we do at least 1,800 people? And I said, I guarantee 1,800 people. And the president said, you guarantee? I like that word. What do you mean? I said, if 1,799 come, don't pay me. And he said, you know what? That's not going to cover all the money we would lose if we did bad on this event. However, you put your money where your mouth is. He said, so I'm going to say give this guy the event. So he gave us the event, and it was packed. In the rain, it started out in the rain and cleared up, thank God. We had 3,600 people. When I came to the MGM that Monday, I didn't expect them to do what they did, but I walked in that meeting and they gave me a standing ovation. I had tears in my eyes.
There it is.
Yeah, and they said, we're so excited. Can you extend it 8 weeks? Are we going to be able to do this? Can we take another full-page ad out in this magazine? Blah, 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 blah. Now they were all excited. The weeks before, they were literally yawning. Nobody gave me eye contact. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Dino in the background. Their exact words were, we are not a nightlife property. We already proved it by doing an event with the, I Got a Crush on You.
Jets.
The Jets. We did an event with the Jets, and we did barely 300 people, and we're not a nightlife. I said, that would be like me saying I opened a casino last week and I failed. You know nothing about nightlife. You got to let me do it. And it was packed, 3,600. We extended it 8 weeks, and I'm going to tell you right now, that started the whole trend of the Las Vegas nightlife scene. Because the MGM said to me, do you think a club would work? I said, absolutely. I bet my neck on this one. My neck. I'll put my neck in a guillotine. And they were like, okay. And they showed me these ideas for a club that they were going to originally call something with the Wizard of Oz. It was
Emerald City or something?
Yes, Emerald City, something like that. And I was like, I don't know about that. I heard you guys were getting away from the Wizard of Oz thing and the MGM old pictures, and I don't know. I said, but a club will work. I don't care what you call it, it'll work. Now, when we went to audition for this club, they said, Frank, I don't want to embarrass you, but we want you to come for an audition because we're bringing in some other guys who are bringing in DJs to audition, so it would only be fair that you audition. I said, Rob, they want us to audition. Rob was like, I'm not auditioning. That's insulting. I said, well, even sometimes big actors in movies, they ask them to audition. I said, let's just kill them. Let's blow it away. He didn't want to do it. He said, but I'll do it for you. Let's go. So we had a 2x4 routine where it was 2 DJs behind 4 turntables. We did a lot of tricks, but the best one was All Around the World. Something crumbled for me, and it was Sugar Ray, and it was Over Hypnotize. So we took a pop song, and then we took Hypnotize, the instrumental of Biggie, and that was the track laying underneath, and on top, Rob had All Around the World, or maybe it was me and you were scratching on the other side. Whatever it was, we did this routine, and then I talked on the mic, made believe that there was a dance contest going on, and said all my stupid jokes and everything, and one of the vice presidents at the time just put his hands down and said, these are the guys. Don't even, we shouldn't embarrass them anymore. These are the guys. They had a guy before us juggling. He was in a clown outfit juggling. And the president was like, what does that have to do with DJing?
But wasn't their initial idea was, even though we did the pop and the hip hop and what we knew was hot at the time, they wanted to have a disco nightclub. They wanted it to be all 70s disco.
Wanted it to be disco.
They already explained that to us.
Right.
And I told Frankie that's not my vibe, but I'm going to do the auditions just so we can prove what we can do and what we know about the town, and hopefully they change their mind about it. But
Rob is I'm usually more of a big mouth than Rob. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that.
What?
But anyway, we got a couple of stories that was different in, like the Hertz story. But anyway, before we get to that one, Rob actually said...
Well, we finished the
audition. They said, you guys are the guys, hands down. They took us separately and they said to me, why do you want to work at MGM? I said, because I want to be the first in a casino nightclub that's a real nightclub. It's not a showroom that doubles as a nightclub. It's not off the strip. It's not a restaurant. It's a nightclub. So I want to do it. They said to Rob, why do you want to work? Rob said, I don't. They said, what do you mean you don't? He said, I think, fairness, in all fairness, we know more about nightlife than you guys. I don't think your idea is going to work. He was right. I had to prove to them that disco was not the thing to play all night. And when I told the manager, listen, they didn't play disco all night. We shouldn't play disco all night. He said, I want to remind you that Studio 54 in New York played disco all night. I said, can I remind you that was 1977? This is not 1977. I said, we should play disco till 11:30 or midnight. 11:30 midnight, that's it, when all the theme seekers come in, because it's studio and they're not club people in the first place. So they're going to feel comfortable when they hear disco, and it's like a play. They come in and they're out of there by 12:31 anyway. But we can't play disco all night. Make a long story short, we twisted their arm. It ended up happening. That's the Shaw Club.
I just wanted to remind you that we can't go over one of the famous clubs in Vegas history, the Shaw Club.
Yeah, the Shaw Club was, I'll tell you what, we're going to ask you a trivia question about the Shaw Club in a minute. Okay. We're going to do, should I ask it right now while it's up? Here we go.
Wait a minute. Let me tell them why we're asking the trivia question. Because you're going to win tickets. What are you going to win tickets to? You're going to win tickets to...
Free tickets to Reunion 2021.
The Reunion 2021 is Friday, August 20th at Rockstar Bar. Look, we're in this live feed for exactly an hour right now. We only went through probably 1/10 of the stuff we jotted down. This was kind of being off the cuff. We just made some bullet points. But we're going to do it again next Friday. We're going to do it the Friday after that. We're going to do it Friday after that, leading up to the Friday of August 20th, where we're doing Reunion 2021, which is at Rockstar Bar on Las Vegas Boulevard, directly across from the Town Square Mall. Free parking, ample free parking, indoor-outdoor party. Tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. Go to Eventbrite and you can just type Las Vegas Reunion. I'll have a link after the Facebook Live is over. I'll put the link where you can get your tickets. We've already got this. Is when we do pre-sales, people are kind of off the cuff in Vegas. They like to show up at the door. We got a lot of pre-sales. Almost all the tables are sold out. So this is crazy. I think people are antsy. We promised about 4 years ago, because we used to do these reunions in 5 and 10 year increments. And about 5 years ago, I think it was
we're all 108 now. We got to do them every year.
They said, why don't you do them more often? But we just want to build momentum. We don't want to just do them so close together that people, they want to reminisce, but not that often. So we promised about 4 or 5 years ago, we'll do them every year. And we did them every year. We did the Beauty Bar. We did Place on 7th. We did the one before that. And we were supposed to do one last year. And, of course, something happened with this thing called the pandemic we talked about. But we're doing it Friday, August 20th. And we're going to give away a pair of tickets right now. I see people in the comments. So, Frankie, what is the trivia question?
Here we go. This is
to win the tickets.
Now that we're talking about the clubs, starting the clubs in Vegas now, off the streets and into the clubs, I'm going to make this affiliated with that. So the famous Shark Club that we just showed you a picture of was first what nightclub in Las Vegas? What was the name of the first nightclub in the spot where the Shark Club ended up being years later? Dickie Pry's is going to know this one too, but so is a lot of other people, hopefully.
Say the question again.
Okay, the question again is, the Shark Club nightclub, in that location, what was the very first club that opened, brand new brick building, as a club that later turned into the Shark Club? Name the first club that was in that location. Let's see. I'll give you a hint. If we don't get any winners right away, I'll tell you what year.
Uh-oh, we have a winner. Miles.
Is it DJ Miles? Oh, it's Miles, our other friend Miles.
Miles Rodella.
Very good. All right.
So Miles, congratulations. And we're going to talk about the Tramps. I see the comment, Andine, about Tramps, one of our favorite spots.
Same time as the Shark Club. They were competitors, friendly competitors. So the answer is Jubilation.
Let me show everybody that he was the first one here.
Yeah.
Somebody said Mets. What?
No, Jubilation was a club that was...
About 20 people got the answer right, but I think Miles was first.
And so, yeah, good. So shout out to everybody who got that answer right, but Miles was first on our board here.
Miles, 2 things you can do. You'll be on the guest list automatically, 2 people. Or if you want to pick up your tickets, we have the people at the bar, at the Rockstar Bar, that will have tickets, physical tickets, if you want to go there early and grab them. But you're on the list either way. It's all good. Now, we're into this 1 hour and 5 minutes. We gave away some tickets. We talked about probably 1/20th of our life. I think we're going to sign off soon, but before we do, is anybody got any burning questions or memories or something you want us to bring up off the cuff? We're going to go off script, and there's some people that ask questions or brought up some memories. Gosh, I can't go through all these comments. I'm multitasking here.
Well, I'm going to talk while you're going through that. I'm going to tell them something. Okay, here we go. So me and Rob had a lot of events everywhere out of town, and like DJ Hollywood and Rob, who worked together at Rain, they took a lot of gigs out of town. They liked them. Even Jose with me at Studio 54, he took a lot of gigs out of town. I didn't really like doing that. To me, I was like, number one, I make more for the night staying where I am at studio. And number two, flying for one day in and one day out. To me, it just didn't seem fun until we got a call from Hawaii. And I got a call from Hawaii, and my boss, Mike Milner, at the time from Studio 54, said, I know you love Hawaii, so I want to tell you about this girl who called. She wants to come up with some kind of cross-promotion with us in Hawaii. Do you want to call her back? I said, absolutely. Called her right back. Her name is Trisha, my very good friend. We're still very friendly till this day. We're like family. I visit her every time in Hawaii. She always visits here with her family, great family. But anyway, they had a club out there called the Ocean Club in Hawaii. And they said they want to do a cross promotion. And we came up with the concept of 6 months of Sin City in Hawaii. And when we went there and killed it, we ended up doing all the big clubs at the time. So the Light The Light group did their few clubs in Hawaii. We sent a lot of DJs from Vegas there.
I think you represented 54 and I represented Rain when we did a duo club thing that night.
We did a
That's the actual picture from that night.
I was just wondering if that's from that night. It is.
Yes.
That's from Hawaii, and we did a 2x4, and it was really, really good. The place was packed. They went out of the way to turn the place to look like Rain. They had the gobo that had the Rain logo.
Right.
The girls were wearing the Rain shirts, and then the other half of the bar was wearing Studio 54 shirts. They duplicated the Studio 54 sign. It was packed, and then they said they wanted to do 6 months of Sin City. We ended up doing it for 3 years. They brought us back and forth, and it was a huge promotion, and we loved it. And then we and Rob did a place called 4th and Broadway with Jonathan. He's a promoter from San Diego, and he brought us out there. Maze told him about us, and we did a 2x4 set that we didn't even practice, because we did the 2x4 sets for years with the hip-hop and electro, and we said, you know what, let's just do it with the hard house. And we just talked about what we were going to do.
But it was the debut.
Of your song. I'm getting to that. I'm not going to forget. So we did the 2x4, and they were bugging out, thinking that we practiced it. The DJ came up to us and went, wow, that's the best 2x4 set we ever saw. And me and Rob laughed because we didn't even practice it. We just had down pat what we did and just duplicated. But Rob had produced a song at the time called Make Some Noise for My DJ. And it was a hard house song, and it was Rob's first attempt of just goofing around with a hard house song. I'm telling you right now, it was as good as the best hard house songs out there. The Warp Brothers were kings with songs like Blood is...
Get my wallet and pay you for that compliment.
But you better pay me for everything.
That record was my influence mixed with hard house, because we were DJing at all these clubs. We didn't just play hip hop. We were playing freestyle. We were playing dance music. When house had its influence in this town, we loved house. We loved all kinds of music.
I'm a music lover. I love it all is right.
So I said, I'm going to produce a hard house song because it's fun, but I'm going to put some scratching and some hip hop samples in it. And,
of course.
It ended up getting picked up on a... UK label, license on a UK label.
The same label that Jose 2 Hype was on, we turned them on to Rob, and they were like, oh, this is great. We've got to put this on our label as well. And they did, so it was on that UK label called...
Brain Basher's label, what was it called?
I forgot the name of the label. Doesn't matter, forgive us. But anyway, the record was great. I'm not just saying that. It was as good as Blood is Pumping and Voodoo and Serrano and the Warp Brothers. It was awesome.
Robbie's in the building.
Oh, Robbie Havasu.
That's right.
Robbie! So, anyway, he started producing, and then he never stopped. I mean, he's a nerd with all this stuff. If you look around the studio right now, you would not believe all the stuff he has put together for these cameras, 3 cameras, 4 cameras to work.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
We're going to lose everybody now. Watch it.
No. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, because people have been asking us to share the stories, and they were telling me, are you going to go on and DJ? Because everybody's doing the DJ thing because of the pandemic and go live and DJ. The problem with that is, can't get away with it no more. The licensing, they tag in, and I didn't want to compete with the thousands of DJs that were doing it during the pandemic. But because I have a recording studio, and I do a lot of recording stuff, that's my 9 to 5, basically. I have a recording studio. I do a lot of production for hotels, for conventions, for agencies, corporate events, you name it. But there's been a demand for video production, and it goes hand in hand with audio. So me producing all the audio stuff, now people are saying, we need a green screen thing because we got dancers performing to that production number. We're doing a virtual event this year, and we need talking heads like what we're doing right now. So I built a little podcast studio. It's still in the making. This is my first live attempt, but I've done about 4 clients already, people that I've worked with before that have been asking about this. So I have a room set up with multiple cameras, monitors, lighting, microphones, mixers, a lot of work. And the second half of the room, if I was to turn these cameras and lights around, is a green screen wall. So I could shoot a green screen, fake background for a talking head thing or a dancing thing.
He's got drums, guitars, bass, all that here as well.
I got everything. But anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this first attempt at our Facebook Live, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Thanks for all the people in the comments, all the shout outs. Sherry Klein, it's about time, that we got together and talked about these stories.
Chili and Cherry, for those of you who remember Tramps, she was always dancing as Chili and Cherry at the Tramps contest and winning, and she was also a star in Splash for many years at the Riviera, and she's been my friend since 1903. So Sherry, love you.
Cherry baby,
Cherry.
Oh man, people are giving us some props and asking some serious questions.
Solomon, we haven't seen you since the Copra events, I think. I hope to see you out on this event, August 20th. By the way, folks, this event, the drinks are from $6 to $9.
Tell them about the bottle service.
Yeah, the bottle service starts at 110. The drinks is $6 to $10. It's a brand new place. This is the first time I think we've ever done an event at a brand new place besides a Taboo years ago. You know, everywhere else was either redone or whatever. This is brand new. It's beautiful. It still smells new. It's really a good setup. Elevated booths that face the stage, catwalk for girls to dance on, guys to dance on, whoever. The food is great and cheap. I mean, they got chicken wings, chicken fingers, burgers, the beers. I mean, it's a great price list, but the bottles at 110 and drink prices from $6 to $9. That's why
Now,
we only got
I
like
went and
8
did
tables
some
left.
research because I don't go to the clubs on the strip unless it's a big corporate party, blah, blah, blah. But a Grey Goose is, at the lowest I seen was $550. The highest is $1,000 at all these clubs, your marquees, your accesses. Not trying to shame them or downgrade them. I'm just saying that's crazy. For locals, you guys need to have something that fits
And for our,
our
age
lifestyle.
Group, and for our age group,
So
absolutely.
what is it, $150 for a Grey Goose or $120, whatever
It's
it is?
$160 for Grey Goose.
Crazy.
And $110 for Kettle and all the
Sky
other stuff.
and
But-
Tito's is only $110.
Yeah,
So bottle service will be at this event. That's
And,
crazy.
Yeah, when you reserve a table, all they do is put that money towards your purchase, whether it's food, whether it's liquor, whether it's a bottle, whether it's drinks. So, Roxanne Scarponi, I hope to see you.
When I worked at the Shark Club, and I can't be there for this next reunion, loving this.
Yes, and
We still got
Roxanne and the
a
MQ,
next
I hope to
episode.
see
We're going
you
to talk about more clubs because we were supposed to relive club memories. And we had the Troubadour, we had the Shark Club. We need to talk more about the Shark Club. We got to talk about Mr. G's. We got to talk about Tramps.
We got to talk about Studio and Rain.
Studio 54 and Rain, our big last residencies before we kind
Absolutely.
of started
Eve,
doing.
Chateau, Gallery,
Yeah,
that's all coming up.
but times have changed.
Yeah,
Corporate taking over the clubs.
Yes.
Me and Frankie got rubbed the wrong way. And that's a whole 2-hour story right
It
there.
used to be about the party. The party came first. Now it's the money first. It's the money second. It's the money third. It's the promo fourth. The image fifth. And then after that, the party is kind of important. So that's not us. We're about the party,
So we're going to sign off in a second. Any last minute questions or memories you want to talk about? Because I need a glass of wine. I'm multitasking over here. I'm producing the show. I'm trying to talk.
He's got a toilet underneath him.
I'm just multitasking. I'm throwing comments, switching cameras, running audio. Anywho, we need a club exclusively for locals. That's what Mike Annabelle
well,
said.
by the way, I'm glad someone brought that up.
Sherry
It's
said,
like-
what about C2K? We got tons
we're
of
going to
stuff.
bring it all up. But one thing I do want to say is the main reason for us doing this event is we're trying to secure a weekly. If not at that venue, at somewhere else in town. We've been talking to another major hotel, and they don't want to give it. Mike Milner!
Speaking
I'm
of
so
54,
glad. I just told a story
You probably
about
just
Mike
joined
Milner.
in. You missed all the juicy stuff about you fighting with everybody back behind Studio 54's closed doors there.
I was talking about Mike earlier. I hope he got to see that. This is a very good friend of mine for years, and the boss and of the whole nightlife director of the whole MGM scene before it became what it is today with Hakkasan and all that. Mike was the nightlife director. And I don't think if we didn't do as good of a job as what we did in nightlife, I don't think the whole town would have followed suit the way they did now. But Mike was one of the important guys who made that happen. How are you, Mike? So anyway, we're trying to get a weekly out of this. We're talking to one hotel slightly off the strip. And if this venue doesn't pick us up for weekly events, then we will give you guys one because people our age need to have a place to go weekly with prices like that.
Shout out,
$110 a bottle instead of $1,000.
DJ Mikey VIP. Yes, Rain was epic. Rain was a high energy club. Me and Hollywood took that thing and raised the roof and caught it on fire, literally, because we had the ring of fire over the dance floor. It was a fun venue. I was there for 10
Britney
years.
Spears to Snoop Dogg.
Not just as a resident head DJ, but I was the music director. I was scheduling the DJs, doing the billing for the DJ. Same thing Frankie was doing for 54. It was great that at the same time in our lives, doing all the stuff that we paid dues for, DJing in clubs and talking about music direction and curation of the kind of music, and people listened to us. It was great that I got a big head spot at a major nightclub in a hotel literally almost the same time as him at 54. He was the music director running everything, all the DJs, all the shifts, all the music, all the theme nights. I was doing it at Rain. They wanted me to do theme nights, bring in guest DJs, format the music, and hiring DJs that I thought were great. And there's too many to mention, but we had a great team of DJs. They had a great team of DJs.
But you know what made that great on the party level, on the friend level? So on the nights that we were off, we're all at R.O.B.s, and we're on stage drinking all night, and then we're going to eat.
I don't drink.
Then, yeah, okay.
Except for wine.
Yeah, he's got to go drink
and
wine.
beer
right
and
now.
vodka.
That's why we're cutting early.
And Jameson ginger ale.
Okay.
No.
Those are the only things, and 18 beers. But anyway, Rob would come on their nights off or when they got off, and it was such a good collaboration going back and forth, cross-promoting.
Carlos!
cross promoting, and it did such a great deal that people started doing cross promotions. We did a night where they would come and support our club. They did we did Dollhouse. You did your night. I forgot Rain.
Thursday night we did Drenched, which was the guest
right.
DJs,
and we were all going back and forth. We had the whole crew would have a table and bottles at his place, and then the next night started the whole trend of that still goes on, I think. But people are not only competitors now, but they're like enemies nowadays. But back then it was great. It was great, and we're going to get to that in future.
We're at an hour and 17 minutes.
You hear what my brother just
yes,
said?
your brother's absolutely correct.
He said the entire nightlife scene of Las Vegas owes a lot to me and Rob, and that's true. I mean, it sounds boastful, and it is.
And I
but
think
it's true.
we lost track of the fact that we just love music too much, and our business conscience wasn't what maybe it should have been, as far as getting rubbed the wrong way by corporate, and it just maybe we should have stepped in other directions. That's a whole other story, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know we're not going to get into that whole thing, of course.
Anywho,
but yeah, I mean, we had fun doing it. We were blessed. I'll tell you that right now. Like he said, for both of us to be in major clubs that were known around the world, and we were blessed. And I just hope the great times haven't stopped, and that's why we're throwing this event, because we want to keep it going. And Sergio, Mexican Mafia in the house. Sergio, my pal, love you, man. We'll see you at the event. We
were going to do an hour. We're almost at an hour 20. Last chance for questions, comments, anything that we forgot. We forgot a lot. We didn't forget it. We just don't have the time to bring it up. But anything that you guys want to know, any last minute questions, memories you want to share, meeting us, our parties, our events, our clubs that we were resident DJs at, we're going to do about 5 more minutes, and then I got to go. Mm-hmm. And anything else you want to add before we sign off?
No, not really. Just I'm so glad to see everybody's support, even on the podcast. It's so great. So, Lisa Hammond, how are you? I hope you're feeling better. I heard you weren't feeling so well. Hope you're feeling better. Hope we see you soon at this event. Hopefully everything will be fine by then. This is great. Rob, like I said, with all this nerdy stuff he has together is awesome. You get to see
a lot of work,
but
it's fun, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. We're going to do it again next Friday. Now, you'll see the announcement. Frankie's got some other priorities, but we're going to try to do it at 6 p.m. If anything, next Friday it'll be at 7 p.m.
Right.
But that gives us a week to get your comments and some of the stuff that we missed to talk about, because we have a lot to talk about, and we didn't even scratch the surface. So get those questions ready, because if you don't get them in tonight, we'll go over it and we'll do it next Friday.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your interest and your support over all the years. Thank you so much, really.
All right, we're going to sign out. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next Friday. Peace out.
Oh, yeah.